So we all wondered what happened to the GOAT. Well, the GOAT lives. Nicholas Latifi. He definitely divides the opinion of Formula One fans out there, but honestly, I quite like the guy. Mainly for the fact that he was the nicer son of a Canadian billionaire. He has a Nutella fixation, and he genuinely just seemed like a nice cheeky chappy. And quite frankly, LawVS, one of the companies that his father owns, is actually one of my favourite brands, and nice. No, I'd rather be making the video, just need a coffee is all. But the one thing that got me really concerned for the future of Nicholas Latifi was, of course, that particular race. I really don't want to get into the semantics of it. It was just an accident. And then, yeah, it all blew up in everybody's face. Nicholas Latifi got a lot of flack to the point where Lewis Hamilton actually had to call out people to calm down and leave him alone. But quite frankly, it obviously did knock the confidence of Nicholas Latifi, and ultimately he did bow out of Formula One at the end of 2022, giving way to Logan Sargent. And for that last year in F1, he was mainly there out of kind, out of the loyalty to Williams, because Dorilton Capital did say that they really didn't need Nicholas Latifi sponsorship money and Safina Foods backing. They could do that themselves, but I like the fact that he got one more year to have a go. But I got really worried that after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, he just disappeared. No one heard anything about him. I was really concerned because he just seemed like a really nice guy. I'd actually want to get to know him, and he'd be a really good friend, I think. He just seems really cheeky. He seems really fun. Was he meant to be in Formula One for the long term? Oh, well, I mean, I guess not, because it just goes to show with what happened to Nick de Vries that the class of 2019 in F2 probably wasn't the best. But either way, Nicholas Latifi is back. He has actually risen. The GOAT lives after all, and he's doing absolutely fine. He seems to be happy, and what he's doing is something that he actually touched upon on his Twitter account yesterday, giving a fairly extensive update as to what he's been up to. And what he's been up to? Well, it's nothing to do with racing. It's actually something to do with something else that he's been working on and planning for the future. Now yes, see, Nicholas Latifi is a smart cookie. A cookie made out of Nutella. He put out a 2-page statement just detailing what he had been up to for the last few months since the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix when he suddenly went dark. I mean, even his website wasn't updated. It just seemed like he'd gone completely radio silent, mainly just for the fact that after that whole year in 2022 where he was clearly really lacking confidence, he just wanted to be done with Formula One. That everything was just going against him. He got dropped, and then I just felt really bad for him. I mean, of course, he didn't make the cut in Formula One, but he did have some good results, and he did score some fairly decent points for Williams. He's not the worst Formula One driver out there. It's just he really didn't cut the mustard when it comes to the modern F1 squad, because F2 is pretty much the strongest it's ever been. The caliber of Formula 2 drivers and all of the junior drivers that are coming in from other categories is just getting better and better and better. It's really improving, even though the junior programs are really not improving, and that at the moment, the Williams Driver Academy is actually one of the most reliable. I know, it's weird. But what Nicholas was saying is that he's actually getting into something that he thought he would be doing once he actually hung up his helmet. He's actually getting on with getting an MBA. Let me read to you what he actually said. I'll just dip in and out. So he goes, "Hey everyone." Oh, hey Nick. I know I've been quiet on social media this year. I've seen plenty of messages from supporters worldwide asking what I've been up to and what my plans will be for the future, including me, mate, and I'm really glad that you're still around. I was really worried. I decided very early on in the year that I wouldn't have any racing plans for 2023. It definitely felt very strange not having the same routine I'd been in for over half my life. Knowing that I wouldn't be behind the wheel of a race car this year, I'd obviously begun to think of what could be next for me, whether that involved racing or something completely different. Now I'm just imagining that Monty Python bit with Nicholas Latifi's face on it. And now for something completely different. I decided that for the immediate future I wanted to take some time and pursue a different avenue and focus on another path. Growing up, I always had a keen interest in the world of business, and I always said it was something I would have studied at university had I not gone the racing route. With that in mind, and knowing that I might be taking a break from racing, well, I mean, you kind of were, and I don't blame you for taking a break after all that. I decided that I wanted to pursue an MBA degree and focus on something that would transform the next phase of my life. Basically, he then says that it's something that he had contemplated once he fully retired from racing in his late 30s, early 40s, so it's a fairly smart decision because what are you going to be going on and doing for the rest of your life? I don't know, setting up a vineyard or something, or becoming a farmer? Actually, that did happen. Jarno Trulli, a former Formula 1 driver, actually has a vineyard, and 1979 world champion Jody Scheckter actually shacked up on a farm, and he's a farmer now. And that Ricardo Rosset guy, I think he's got something to do with undies. Either way, setting up a business, not a bad shout. Making the decision early on in the year that an MBA was what I wanted to pursue, I began devoting my time to it. He then goes on to say that he's been taking all of the tests and doing a lot of research, which would make sense because Michael Latifi, his dad, is a really successful businessman and the owner of Safina Foods, which has all of those brands that you saw on the Williams car for 2020 and through 2022. And now he's actually saying that after 5 months of rigorous training and revision, he's actually passed, and that he can then go on to pursue an MBA degree. He's actually had a role accepted at London Business School. If you're ever in London at all, maybe you can actually go and find Nicholas Latifi. Maybe go and have a cup of coffee with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's having a pret-à-manger, perhaps, because all of the businessmen seem to have pret-à-manger these days. I mean, it just seems to be de rigueur. This decision may seem surprising to a lot of people. Transitioning to a different racing category might have seemed the most obvious move. I mean, yes, of course, because that's what most people do, but either way, I'm happy for you. However, I knew there would always be a life post-racing at some point, and I decided that now might be a good time to prepare myself for that. Don't worry, this isn't him actually calling a halt to racing entirely. This is not necessarily a goodbye to the racing world forever. Racing has been my life since the age of 13, and is still something I'm extremely passionate about. I haven't missed watching an F1 race yet this season. Oh, that's cool, at least he still watches. And he started racing at 13? Wow, he actually made it to Formula 1 even though he started way later than most people do. I mean, most people getting into Formula 1, they start karting when they're like 6, 7, sometimes the age of 3. So starting at 13 and still making it to Formula 1 and still getting points? That's not bad when you put it in perspective. However, I felt like this year was the right time to explore and pursue other avenues in my life. I'm very much looking forward to this next adventure and want to thank everyone who has supported me throughout my career thus far. I hope I can continue to have your support as I take some time to pursue a different path. Nikki. Aww, that's really sweet. I can't tell you how much I was worrying about the guy. After hearing nothing from him, after all of the trials and tribulations that were actually associated with Nicholas Latifi for the last couple of years, it just seems really sad that all of that would have come to a screeching halt and then he would have just disappeared from social media entirely. I was genuinely concerned. Nobody should have to go through all of that after what happened in Abu Dhabi. That is absolutely not fair. He is not a bad driver. He's just not good enough to be able to sustain a long-term career, especially when you got the likes of Oscar Piastri coming in and Logan Sargent actually not doing that bad of a job at Williams. I'm pretty sure he'll score a point this year. But the point is that Nicholas Latifi is doing well. He's absolutely fine. He's got other things on his mind. He's just being a really smart dude. He's thinking about the future instead of just, you know, doing what most sons of billionaires do and rocking out on yachts and then just living off daddy's trust fund or something like that. He's thinking about the future. That's not bad at all, and I'm really happy for the guy. So I thought I'd share that with you because I genuinely was really concerned about what was going to happen to Nicky, and now I know he can actually sustain his long-term Nutella fixation for the rest of eternity because, you know, he can make them money with that business.